Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Reely, and today we're going to be playing a very interesting game called May I Take Your Order? So let's get into it. Application for employment. Okay. Alright, I've been filling out a few applications today, and this is the last one. 2 weeks later, I'm waist deep in my first Saturday shift at the restaurant. Busy doesn't even begin to describe it. After 7 hours of the weekend rush, I'm ready to go home. I stop off at table 6 and go through the motions. Thank you for dining with us, sir. My name is Reely, and I'll be your server this evening. He smiles at me. Pleasure to meet you, Miss Reely. Have you dined with us before, sir? Yes, indeed. I am quite happy to be back. Just you this evening, sir? No, my girlfriend will be here shortly. I'll just have a cup of coffee while I wait for her. I'll go get that for you right away, then. No rush. Countless families and couples have come and gone today, but for the past hour, that one guy's been clogging up table 6. Are you doing all right, sir? He checks his watch again. Yes, I mistook the time. She'll be here any second. He's been saying that for the past 45 minutes. I tell him to pack it up and leave, but he doesn't have the look I'd expect of someone in his position. There's anxiety, but only a little bit, and there's no disappointment. Not a shred of doubt in his eyes. He really thinks... Excuse me. He looks up at me. It seems he's come to some sort of decision. Thank good... But this is a restaurant with crayons, correct? Yes, sir. We have those for kids. Excellent. A sting of ferocity enters his eyes. One that doesn't quite pair naturally with crayons. One, please, and red if you've got it. Yeah, sure. I'm not about to argue with a customer, so I head to the front. It's not exactly usual, but the guy has been sitting here for half an hour with no phone. I'm caught between pity and irritation, and hope for the upteenth time that he has enough empathy to tap well on a single cup of coffee he's been nursing. There's a small tin with several crayons. We try to keep fresh ones ready. I grab. Why would I Why is this a decision? Let's get him the red one. I snatch up a red crayon. No sense being mean to him. He may be weird, but he's probably having a bad night too. I bring the crayon back over to him and hand it over. Thank you, Miss Reely. It's no big deal. Hey, are you okay? I saw you don't have a cell phone, but we could call your girlfriend and... No warning, no nothing. He knocks everything off the table and climbs right on. What, sir? Please get down. His deft hand scrawls a wide circle, then another, then sections off areas, slicing as though the crayons were a knife. He fills it with symbols. They look almost like zodiac signs. It's like I stood up too fast. There's a rushing to my head. There's a pressure like my ears are going to pop. The tablecloth rips and there's a spray of sweet-smelling fluid. I leap away from the table as something bursts out. Wet, spiked appendages are flailing all over, slapping and snaking their way over the windows and doors. They're fleshy but soft, too soft, and they mush and disfigure as they slam against everything in sight. One smacks the hat off another diner, who continues to eat their meal, unfazed. What? Nobody is screaming, and nobody notices me on the ground, arms raised to protect my face and throat, too tight to scream again. But that's okay. The thing is screaming enough for the entire restaurant. It's letting out a dual-toned screech, high and low, but I can't discern one throat, let alone two. Crayon thrown to the floor. The stood-up guy and worst diner ever starts to call out at it. Sweetie! For goodness sake, put your body on. We're in a nice restaurant. It screeches and roars back at him. I know, but he waves a bundle of cloth at it. I brought you some clothing. And it's super comfy. It slurps up the bundle of fabric, and the creature bubbles and draws back in on itself, twisting until... I emerge. You're here! You had me worried, so I figured I'd help break the barrier down a bit. Teleporia, you have no idea how good it is to see you. When he says that word, my ears finally pop and my teeth grit. It's a bad word. It's not a curse word per se. Not so much a word you wouldn't say in front of your boss. It feels like the wrong answer in a classroom or meeting. The guy, Hendrik, beams and gestures towards the gaggle of eyes and puffy wool. This is my girlfriend, Teleporia. Impudent microbe. I may choose to craft for myself the form of a creator, a birthing one, but I am capable of far greater creations than your repubescent females. And far more erroneously, your inflated ego thinks I would deign to refer to you as any form of companion. Her words wash over him like a gentle breeze. It looks like she could rip his face off, but her roars just make his eyes brim with joy. We've been dating for about 400 years now, and though the long-distance thing is an eensy bit of annoyance, we make it work. The moment I finally devise an effective method of accomplishing your demise, I will rip your soul from your ever-regenerating body and chew it to a gruel. He sits down at the all but destroyed table and picks up his menu. But until that beautiful day, when I can be with you forever, you're going to need to eat something else. Teleporia stops. She looks at me and I bounce between eyes, trying to make contact with one that doesn't stare down into my deepest inadequacies. There's human fuel here? I nod. Her mouth breaks open into a smile. Excellent! You are spared from punishment, Hendrik, if only for the moment. Excuse me? Oh. I can barely think, but I can at least fall back on one set of rules. I struggle to stutter out the rote reply. Would you like to start off with a super salad tonight? The man grins and gives an eager nod. Could I please get the blue cheese salad, and for my sweetie... The Teleporia rolls her eyes and her teeth flash as she cuts in. Hendrik, I've been on enough of these sham dates to know that ordering for your companion is rude. His face falls. But it's been ages since you've eaten any food. You're chewing on the fork right now. She gives him a glare and slowly places the slightly bent cutlery back down on the table. Fine. But before he can say another word, she makes her move. I don't want your advice, though. I want the young human to choose for me. Oh no. He sighs, annoyed. But he checks himself before looking at me. I think he knows that she's putting me on the spot. I can appreciate that he's trying to look out for me. I mean, I'd appreciate it more if he could have not summoned some kind of eldritch thing during an already busy Saturday shift. Or at all. I ease my throat open enough to squeak out. I'll recommend the tomato bisque, I guess. This doesn't seem to mean much of anything to her. But we make a pretty killer tomato soup here, and it's popular with kids. I serve Teleporia her bisque, trying not to get too close. Please be careful, it's very hot. Remember, sweetie, that too much heat can injure... Silence, meat garden! Meat garden! I know what to do with volatile heat sources. She flings the scalding liquid across the table, and it hits Hendrik square in the chest. Ah! He rushes out to the bathroom, face red from pain. We don't serve our soups at a heat that could do permanent damage, but that still has to hurt. She closes most of her eyes and inhales a deep breath, satisfied when she speaks again. Her rough voice has a tranquil tone. Clean it up, human. This is an establishment with standards, is it not? Well, it was, I mutter. And Hendrik returns. Getting along well. As well as might be expected. Still, thank you for keeping her company. We'll eat our appetizers and... She shakes her head. I'm finished with mine. He laughs. Of course, how could I forget? So then, would you like to move on to the main course now? The next part of the meal. Ah yes, with the larger portions. Hendrik points to her menu. So what were you thinking about? I always like steak, but I admit that I was kinda thinking about splurging on the... Hey! Human really! I snap to attention. Yes, ma'am. Choose! Do it promptly and wisely, or else I will need to consume something else for my main course. She's staring at me right in the eyes, and her gaze lingers on my mouth. She stares at my teeth and licks her lips. Is she gonna eat my teeth? Could she eat my teeth? Well, I think you would enjoy. So he was thinking of steak, but he was willing to splurge on something. If he was willing to splurge on something, I would think it would be a lobster. Hendrik gives a bit of a nod. That's my order too. It's been a while, but this is a special night. What? At what point did humans discover the joy of consuming live creatures? Wait, she doesn't think I'll serve it to her while it's still... No, sweetie, I'm afraid that most of us are still a touch prudish about that sort of thing. But they have a tank here, so the lobster is fresh. Pih. Nothing is as fresh as squeezing the life from a creature with your jaws. Feeling it writhe and struggle in a fruitless attempt to stave off the icy curtain of death. She's looking straight at my throat. 2 lobster dinners, coming right up. I rush away as quickly as I can. I try to convince the chef to let me serve 1 lobster live. I feel downright ghoulish, but between me and the crustacean, I'm gonna defend myself every time. She prepares the dishes as usual, and hands them off to me, never making eye contact or reaching to anything I say, or reacting to anything I say. What is this? She lifts up the extra utensil. It's the lobster cracker. Use that to crack open the shell. This is a fair idea, but it's such a waste, really. To use this on a deceased creature. Well, if food is dead, isn't it easier to consume? She waves a claw at me. Not if you have to crack it open anyway. Hendrik is already digging the meat out of his. I like it. It's soothing to have a little tactile activity as part of your meal. Teleporia's claws slip on the lobster's cracker. Meat Shield, how dare you employing your tool? Meat Shield, how are you employing your tool? Well, you put either end of the metal bit over. Raise it up and demonstrate. He holds the lobster cracker and 1 leg up, leaning forward so they're close enough for her to get a good look. She holds hers up, pantomiming his actions. Then promptly grabbing one of his hands, wrapping the cracker around his pointer finger and gripping it tightly. Oh! His finger juts out at an odd angle and blood drips onto the torn tablecloth. She cackles and throws the metal tool at his head. Fool, I can easily employ such a simple item. Ha! He's leaning away from his injured hand, the other on his face. Alright, you are. You got me. He sure does look embarrassed. It's really hard to tell through the pain. I mean, that is an expression of pain on his face, right? I guess she got him? He breathes heavily, trying to get himself under control. As though to prove a point, he goes right back to eating dinner. As though nothing were wrong. So, thank you for dining with us tonight. I did it. I made it through the evening. I'm tempted to not even give them a check, to just rush them right out the door. But I refuse to slip up now. It's been a delight getting to know the both of you. How kind of you. You know, I was planning on heading out, but you know what? I couldn't care less if I attempted, and I am very powerful. I am capable of caring far less than most humans could in the most apathetic dreams. Let's do dessert. Oh, okay. I look from his smiling face to Teleporia's cruel one. I know how this goes. Let's make a recommendation. Do you feel like drinking? I sure do. After dinner brandy. You know what? You know what? You know what? Yeah. We're going all fucking out. Caution to the wind, banana fuster flambe. Is my professionalism slipping? Must be. What are we impregnating? Sweetie, it's a figure of speech. I don't have that function this time around. Sweetie, I think she's just tired. That's okay. I think if I want this to be a truly satisfying night for our esteemed void goddess, then she's gonna enjoy this dessert. Or at least how we cook it. What is this blathering about? But I can tell I've got her hooked. We cook it tableside, with a huge flame. And there it is. I'm not so sure about this. Looks like he's picked up on the pattern too. Oh, I insist. I don't even need to write this one down. 1 flaming dessert for table 6. I scramble about the kitchen, grabbing everything I need. Am I cleared to do this? Hell no. 2 weeks is not long enough to have permission to set things on fire next to the diners. But tonight's special, isn't it? I wheel the cart over. Feeling a mite chatty, I take my time, prepping to light it on fire. Ugh. I know what you're doing, Hendrik. You think if you can keep delaying me with fancy dinners, stolen body parts, gentle words, and rough sex. Could we not talk about our sex life in public? Thank you! She places a hand on his arm. That you can stop me. You are as always disgusting, but an appealing opponent. Look out! And I light it up. The flame shines in her eyes, and I can feel the heat coming off it. I should probably be keeping a close eye on it to make sure it's cooking properly. But looking over at Hendrik and Teleporia, they're holding hands, so simply and happily. She's gripping his hands tightly from joy. And then she jerks him across the table. Straight into the flaming cart. Now that burn, that's one that could cause permanent damage. Though he may be lucky that that's the worst thing that happened to him tonight. He executes a perfect stop, drop, and roll, and soon the flames are out. Yeesh, though he's far from unscathed. Human, this was a fantastic dinner. Bring us the statement so that we may repay you for your noble worship and gifts. I salute and wheel what remains of the upturned cart away. It's not long before I return with the bill in hand. He takes the check. He seems to do a bit of calculation in his head, then lays down some cash. Well, this evening wasn't a complete waste of time and effort. Organ ravioli. Hendrik looks up at her. You may have one short, friendly embrace. He jumps up to his feet, arms wide open to hug her. And one of her tentacles slams into him, throwing his body across the room. It slams into the wall and ragdolls to the ground. Hug transaction complete. Oh no, did you just kill him? She heaves a sigh. Would I were so lucky. No, human, I have merely rendered him unconscious. That's good. Via severe cranial hemorrhaging. That's bad. He will sleep it off. I've ripped off his limbs before. He can take it. She looks almost fond. She gets up, walks over to him, and grabs him by the foot. I suppose it's time to return him to his residence. She perks up. Or I can abandon his body in a trash unit. Hendrik's head thuds against the ground, and she walks down the staircase and out of sight. When I hear the front door close, another server bumps me in the shoulder, stepping past. They give me a dirty look and keep heading their way. Just like that, I'm back. I get moving, clearing the table, scooping up the check. I check the tip. 40%. It might not cover emotional distress, but it'll cap off the shift well. This was quite the experience. But for my own safety, I think I'm going to skip the 2 weeks notice. I came here to learn something new, and I'd say that that goal is more than accomplished. Ending 4. A hug goodbye. Well guys, that was May I Take Your Order. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!